More than anyone else at the rally, J.T. Reddy embodies the link between white supremacist ideology and mainstream conservative politics. J.T. was a Republican precinct committeeman in Phoenix and a candidate for the Arizona House of Representatives. His writing appeared on mainstream conservative websites, and he regularly spoke at rallies with powerful Arizona political figures. J.T. is a former Marine and was also an early collaborator with the vigilante groups that patrol the Mexican border. They call themselves Minutemen, after the citizens' militias of the American Revolution. Here Reddy is in 2004 with Chris Simcox, the founder of the Minuteman Civil Defense Corps.
Chris Simcox, founder of Civil Homeland Defense.
J.T. Reddy, candidate for Arizona House.
J.T. was a rising star in the Republican Party, but after Obama's election, he came out publicly as a member of the National Socialist Movement, which he now proclaims proudly on his license plate. J.T. agreed to meet with us, but he wanted to do the interview out in the middle of the desert, on Highway 88.
What I'm fighting for primarily at this point is the survival of the white race.
J.T. says that white Americans have been dispossessed and sees America teetering on the edge of a crisis in which their very survival is at stake.
Any event which sparks this off, it could be during an election time, it could be the assassination of a prominent leader on either side, things could erupt. Now, within the white movement, we call it RAHOA, Racial Holy War. And I do believe in a racial holy war, and I believe that we are already fighting that, except that our side hasn't even begun to fight back yet. So we're trying to awaken our people for survival.
Racial holy war. For hardcore activists, it is more than a battle of blog posts and street protests. And the surge in hate crimes, political murders, and assassination threats since Obama's election have spurred fears of an even greater conflagration in the white supremacist world.
911, where's your emergency?
Somebody just came in and shot my daughter and my husband.
They shot them?
Please, now, please. She's bleeding out of her mouth. Please.
How old is your daughter?
She's 10.
10? Where were they shot?
In the head. In the head.
Are they still there, the people who are there that shot them?
They're coming back in. They're coming back in.
That was the night of May 30th, 2009, at this house in Arivaca, Arizona, where Raul Flores and his 10-year-old daughter Brisenia were murdered. Their alleged killers were Shauna Ford, director of an anti-immigrant Minuteman militia, and her operations director, Jason Bush, who has been linked to the white supremacist Aryan nations. Ford talked of starting a revolution against the U.S. government, and they allegedly planned to rob Latinos they believe were drug dealers to finance their underground activities.
The whole mindset of hate under the guise of fighting illegal immigration, something that we have not seen probably since the 60s or 50s.
Salvador Reza is a lifelong community organizer here in Arizona. He's been battling for years against the anti-immigrant and white supremacists. Exploiting America's racial fault line helps white nationalists impact mainstream politics. It also helps conservative talk show hosts get viewers.
This president, I think, has exposed himself as a guy over and over and over again who has a deep-seated hatred for white people or the white culture. This guy is, I believe, a racist. I feel like President Obama is just saying, you know what?
For years, the anti-immigration movement was the vehicle of choice for white nationalists looking for an impact on public policy.
Why don't you just set us on fire? Do you not hear the cries of people who are saying, stop?
White supremacists face major challenges, but they are convinced that racial identity remains the most powerful force in American politics.
I think it's become more racial. Because of the vote, we're not in a post-racial America. It's becoming more racial. Race has become a bigger issue today than it's been in 20, 30 years.
I think the Tea Party movement is the beginning of a very good awakening, and realize we only need to wake up 10% of the people to win this thing.
As this right-wing populist movement spreads more and more anger and more scapegoating, and more elected officials and media demagogues encourage them, it's more likely that violence will occur.
That protest is the beginning stages of a revolution, and revolution is the only thing that's ever changed the government.
There's two hearts beating in the American breast. One's multiracial, democratic, and there's a white heart, if you will, that is narrow and exclusionary.